Hi everybody, my name's Mickey Bush and I'm a fully conceded alcoholic. That's fully conceded, not conceited, as you may believe afterwards. You know, when I attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, I identify as an alcoholic and probably an addict, because that's the way they like it done. When I speak in Narcotics Anonymous or Cocaine Anonymous or any other anonymous, I identify as an addict and probably an alcoholic, because that's the way they like it done. But, I'm under no illusion as to what I am and what I can be. And the truth of the matter is that, if there's 12 steps attached to anything, I'm a contender for it, for Christ's sake. Doesn't matter what it is. AA, NA, CA, ACA, Overeaters, Little Peters, it doesn't matter what it is. If there's 12 steps attached to it, I'm a contender for it, for crying out loud, I've known some of you a while, so I better back up a little bit and be rigorously honest. I did go to a Little Peter meeting, but they wouldn't let me in, said I didn't qualify. They let Michael in. Michael was all right. Yeah. You're a rotten lot laughing at like little Michael like that, So you get the idea. I'm a very sick guy, and I've been in recovery a long, long time. So I'm glad to be here. I'm actually delighted to be. I've never been to this venue before, but I've been to Utah many times and Salt Lake City and stuff like that, so I'm really glad to be here. I'm having a little gratitude attack right now, as a matter of fact. Anybody know what I mean by gratitude attack? Who has gratitude attacks? Anybody here? Yeah. You know what I mean when you come over all grateful and you just feel like you're hugging your kid or something, Gratitude, that wasn't even in my vocabulary, gratitude. When I got here, what was there to be grateful for heaven's sake? Gratitude? Screw gratitude. Screw you in gratitude. What was there to be grateful for? And yet, like the beautiful book says, I can't define the truth from the false. The truth of the matter is, I've had something to be grateful for all my life. All my life I've had something to be grateful for. My name's Mickey Bush. Think about that. Mickey Bush. That's what my name. Mickey Bush. Mickey Bush. That puts me somewhere between a mouse and a president. Anywhere in that spectrum is where you're likely to find me. Mickey Bush. And I am really grateful they never named me Harry. Yeah. Can you imagine going through life with a name like Harry Bush? Yeah. You're a rotten lot laughing at that. I'm a delicate dude. So I'm glad to be here and I'm grateful and, just glad to be seeing a lot of new faces and a lot of faces that are in recovery. I just love that. I've been told just here that, people have told me just since I've been here that I saved their life, Well, we all know who saves the lives around here, but if you want to give me the credit, I'll take it, the thing is. But, got a little bit of a dry throat now. I love being in recovery. I absolutely love being in recovery. And I love being who I am, doing what I do. Never used to be like that. I've heard a lot of nice things said and what have you, and I want to tell you that, I was just told I was a celebrity in Alcoholics Anonymous. I was a 12-step celebrity by 2 celebrities. That meeting that I introduced Bob to when he was over in LA, that used to be my home group meeting. I used to go there every day and, lots of, celebs and people like that there. And I was over doing I don't live there anymore, but I was over doing some business, so I thought I'd check out the old home group. So I went along to the meeting and just checking out the old home group. And after the meeting, I came out and a couple of well-known celebrities there that you all know who they are. They're Academy Award-winning celebrities. And, one of them said, "Haven't seen you in a while, mate." I said, "Yeah, I don't live in the neighbourhood anymore, but I thought I'd come and see how the old home group's doing. Glad to see everybody's doing good." She said, I didn't realise what a celebrity you've become in 12-Step Program, Mick. I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I'm making a movie in New York," she said, "and I went to 2 meetings in New York, and in both the meetings, they mentioned you, they quoted you by name. You're like this 12-step celebrity." I said, "Yeah, fucking big deal, a celebrity in an anonymous program." I said, "No, you're a celebrity. You're a celebrity. I'm just a clean and sober member. I'm just a small part of a great whole." And I love that. I love being a small part of a great whole, which we all are. Everybody here is just a small part of a great whole, and I love that. I love being a small part of a great. I don't need to be no big shot or no celebrity. I'm just one of you troops, the same as everybody else. And I love that. And I love the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, this beautiful book. I love it a lot. If you get a bit restless and want to leave, I'll tell you what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Alcoholics Anonymous and the big book, and recovery, and this is what it means to me. ALCOHOLICS, alcoholics. ANONYMOUS, Alcoholics Anonymous. A life centred on helping others lives in complete sobriety. Actions, not our names, yield maintenance of unity and service. Woo! That's good shit, isn't it? What did you think? I was just good looking. I always drank the drug alcohol. Always drank. I never remember not drinking the drug alcohol. I always drank the drug alcohol. I didn't only drink it, but I always drank it. I always drank alcohol, but I also did loads of other shit. Now, I don't know whether you did or not, but I did. I did mountains of drugs. Good drugs. And the bad ones. Did the bad ones too. Drugs, drugs, devil's revenge upon God's subjects. That's what it is. And, it don't matter what it is. I heard people in treatment say, "What's your drug of choice?" I said, "What? Drug of choice? You get to choose?" What's drug of choice? I'd never ever even heard that before. Nobody, I can promise you, nobody ever out there. I cannot imagine being backstage at a Rolling Stones concert or something and somebody coming up and saying, "Hey dude, what's your drug of choice?" Drug of choice? I mean, I don't even know what that is. My drug of choice, if I got one, is yours. Whatever you got is my drug of choice. And anything you got is my favourite. And that's usually followed by, "Is it good and will you front me some?" Drug of choice? I never ever heard anything like it. I mean, I always drank alcohol, that was a permanent part. I used to smoke pot, I used to love smoking pot, I mean, I never had a problem with pot, for Christ's sake. Anybody here smoke a little pot? Yeah. Anybody smoke a lot? Yeah, no shit. I mean, pot only used to do 2 things to me. It used to make me horny and make me hungry. Horny and hungry. Nothing wrong with that. Except some mornings you wake up with a sore arm and a bed full of pizza crust. But apart from that... Oh, you know what I mean, huh? Oh, I get it, yeah. I like speed, crystal crank. Anybody here do a little speed, crystal crank? Anybody do a lot? Yeah, no shit. Did it make your dick disappear? Oh, yeah. I could fire up some crystal, go around and talk to you lovely ladies. But that's what I said to you lovely ladies. Do you want to come home and we talk about sex? There's no chance of getting any. You know. I like cocaine. Anybody here do a little cocaine? Anybody do a lot? Yeah, no shit. Do anything for cocaine, me? Except pay for it. Don't like paying for it. Don't like paying for it, for Christ's sake, you know. I'm a dope fiend. I puke on you. I don't care if I puke on you. I'm a puker, for Christ's sake. I like dope. So you get the idea. You know, it don't matter what it is. If you got it, I want it, and I'm doing it. You know, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I have no idea why I do what I do. You know, when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm a victim, by the way. I was conned into going to Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I'm a victim, and I speak victimese. You know. You know, some English rock and roll friends of mine that, you know, were sober in the programme and they conned me. And one of them conned me into believing that I was being a friend and doing him a favour by going to meetings. He said, would I go to these meetings with him because he had to go to these bloody meetings and he had no one to play with, and would I go and be his friend? I mean, yeah, I don't give a shit, you know, don't matter to me. I was coming to the end of my drinking anyway and didn't have too many places to go. So I would go to these bloody meetings with him. I didn't know didn't want to get sober or nothing like that. I mean, I was just doing him a favour. I was going to these meetings and I had very vague recollections of the meetings because, you know, Cocaine Anonymous had just started at that time as well. And, you know, I mean, I was in a blackout most of the time. I didn't even know what a blackout was. Any other blackout drinkers here? And the rest of you lying mothers, I know blackout drinkers I never even knew what a blackout was. I've been blacking out all my life and never knew. I never knew. I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether you knew or not, but I never knew. I'll give you a clue. I never ever went to bed with an ugly woman. Ever. Never. But they changed overnight. And in the morning, you were with it. Oh! I came out of a blackout once walking down the street in Spain. I went out drinking in London. You know something's happened when you go out drinking in foggy, wet, rainy London and you come out of a blackout with lovely sunshine and palm trees. Ain't no bloody sunshine and palm trees in London. I was walking down the street. Now, I knew Spain, so I wasn't too fazed by it. And I thought, oh, hi, Spain. And I was with her. An Eskimo chick. Don't know where I have no idea where she came from. But, you know, we got her, we find them, don't we? We do find them, you know. Woke up next to this one time. Went, oh! Get out! The hell? Get out, ugly! Get out! She said, you get out, this is my house. Kick my arse out. You know, see, I don't know. I'm a blackout drinker. I don't even know what a blackout is. You know, I got to Alcoholics Anonymous under my own volition on January the 15th, 1983. I'd been going to these bloody meetings with my friends and what have you, just periodically and not knowing very much and what have you. But they say when the pupil's ready, the master appears, and that's what happened to me on January the 15th, 1983. You know. I came off a 3-day run, you know. It's Tuesday. My best friend in the whole wide world, who I've known all my life since we were little gutter snipes, you know, after the Second World War in London, England, we struggled through and we survived and we robbed and cheated and lied and screwed our way around the planet a couple of times, and we'd been in and out, we'd done robberies and Christ knows what else. We'd been best friends for years. And he was visiting from Spain. When we had to abscond from England, I came to America, he went to Spain. And he was over visiting from Spain to LA, and you know, I came to him and I went, wow, Now, if you're a blackout drinker like me, you don't forget everything. You have little smatterings of memory, but you can't quite put them all together, you know. But you know things ain't right, you know. Wow, and I couldn't quite place it and whatever. And, you know, I called up my best friend from Spain, and his name was Mickey too, and he was really pissed off at me. Really pissed off, you know. I said, what's the matter with you? He said, it's all right, I know it won't happen again because I won't be in your company when you're drinking anymore. I went, what? He said, just piss off. He said, just piss off. And put the phone down. I went all little inside and rejected and whatever, and I just felt, oh, what the hell's wrong with that? I don't know where I've been and what I've been doing. So I call up the English rock and roll singer that's been 12-stepping me. I don't know nothing about a 12-step. I have no idea what a 12-step is or anything like that. But, you know, I just called him, you know, an alcoholic coming off a bender with a phone. I called him. He's laughing at me. I said, what are you laughing at? He said, you. I said, why? He said, because you do weird shit, that's why. I said, what do you mean? Oh, he laughed. Well, stop laughing, I'm a delicate dude, I've got all these feelings. He said, I ain't had a drink for 2.5 years. I said, haven't you? I said, how come? He said, because I used to drink like you. I said, what do you mean? He, oh, and you stop laughing, what are you laughing at? He said, have you spoke to your friend Mickey from Spain? I said, yeah, he told me to piss off. I said, what happened? He said, well, it all started after you peed in that lady's dinner. I said, what? He said, don't you remember your friend Mickey took us to that smart Beverly Hills restaurant? In the middle of the restaurant, you got all ticked off at some old dame and you marched across the store, whacked it out and did it right in her plate. I went, oh my God. Because I didn't remember peeing in no old lady's dinner. But I would do shit like that and I wouldn't remember it. And then I'd go back in that restaurant or club or bar or whatever it was afterwards and, you know, they'd go, oh, how the hell you got the balls to come in here after what you did? And I'd go, what do you mean? Because I wouldn't remember. You know? Call the cops, get me in trouble again. Because that's why I'm a blackout drinker. I don't even know what blackout is. Been blacking out all my life. Don't even know what it is. I have been sober, and I want to make this point. Register with it if you can. There's a total difference between sober and sobriety. Now, some people may be sober and have absolutely no sobriety. I've been in that position many times. I've been physically sober many, many times in my life. Many times I have been physically sober as I stand before you right now in nearly 37 years. Never had any sobriety. Every time I came out of a joint, no matter what kind of a joint it was, maximum security, minimum security, a jitter joint, you know, whatever it was, I've been locked away and incarcerated. I've been in bloody places cuckoos wouldn't fly over, man. But you know what? They didn't know what was wrong with me. They didn't know how to treat me. They knew how to bash me up. They knew how to hurt me. They knew how to chain me to padded cells and zap me on electric machines and shoot me up with tranks and shit like that. But they never knew what was wrong with me. And they never treated me. They just beat me up and then pushed me out somewhere else. And I'll go out and I'll do all the old stuff again and keep doing this over and over and over. Yeah. I have no idea what I do and why I do it. I get to Alcoholics Anonymous on January the 15th, 1983, as a result of that phone call. I put the phone down on my buddy, but I'm sitting at my desk in my house in West Hollywood, living in West Hollywood. Anybody here know West Hollywood? You know, a couple of people here know West Hollywood. It's a very special part of town for those who don't know. It's commonly referred to as Boys Town. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the kind of town where if you drop your wallet on Santa Monica Boulevard, you've got to kick it up to Sunset before you can pick it up, you know? Nothing to do with nothing, it's just a place to live. If you're gay, don't be offended, nobody cares. I'm living there above Sunset and I'm sitting on my coffee table and there's a beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, 3rd edition. And on top of that was a meeting directory. When the pupil's ready, the master appears. It transpired that the girl I was renting out the bedroom to in my one-bedroom apartment, the rent she was paying me was paying the rent for the whole thing. I thought I was smart. I had a single mattress in a closet off of the lounge, you know. When you come out of the closet in West Hollywood, it takes on a new meaning, you know. She'd been busted on a 502 and she'd been, sentenced by the courts to go to AA meetings. You guys had given her a book and a meeting directory like we do with our new folk and stuff like that. She didn't need it. She just made a mistake one day. She wasn't an alcoholic addict like me. And she just left it there and it'd been sitting there on my table. But it was there when I needed it, and I was sitting there all, demoralised, and I flicked through this meeting directory, and there was a meeting just down the road on San Vicente Hill in West Hollywood that I could walk to. Because I had a little sports car in the garage, but it hadn't run for 3 months and wasn't going to run that day either, unmanageability. And I flicked down, and I had to get out of the house. I just had to get out. I don't know if you're a kind of user like me where you just, your skin don't fit and you just don't know what's wrong and you just got to get out. You've got to go somewhere, there. Wherever there is, you've got to be there. And I walked down to this meeting. I don't know nothing about nothing. They tell me I was grey, shaky and smelly. I thought I was God's gift to the world. As I approached that meeting, there's 2 dudes standing outside. Now, I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know nothing about, guys with a commitment to their home group and, being, taking part in their own recovery. And as I approached that meeting, one of those dudes stepped forward with his hand out like that. I went, "What do you want?" He said, "I want to welcome you to AA." I said, "What?" He said, "Welcome to Alcoholics Anonymous." I said, "What?" And the other guy stepped forward with his hand out. He said, "Keep coming back." I thought he said, "Keep coming on my back." I said, "What?" He said, "Keep coming back." I said, "What for?" He said, "We love you." I said, "I bet you do." When dudes tell you they love you in West Hollywood, you get a bit nervous. I snuck round them when I stood in the doorway of the community centre there, little room. Looked in the community centre, it was full of smoke. They smoked in meetings here. There were some celebrities that I knew in the room, and there was perhaps 20 people in the room, and every one of them were talking. Nobody listening, everybody talking, and the room was full of smoke, and I can remember standing there looking in and going, wow, what is this? Holy shit. And another English rock and roll singer come walking down the middle of the room, and he came up and he put his arms around me. He went, "What are you doing?" He said, "Giving you a hug." I went, "Get away from me, you bloody pervert, get away from me." He said, "We've been saving you a seat." I said, "What do you mean? What are you doing here anyway?" He said, "I'm leading the meeting." I said, "How come?" He said, "I'm 2 years sober." I went, "Oh." I can remember taking half a step back. I didn't want to catch that, whatever that was. He said, "Talk to these dudes." I said, "I don't want to talk to no dudes." He said, "That's what we do here." I said, "Screw you." But these 2 dudes wouldn't shut up. They had a wet one, and we talk to our wet ones, don't we? Talk. What? And then one of them got up in my face and went, "You're an alcoholic." I said, "What?" He said, "You're an alcoholic." I said, "That's a bloody mean thing to say to somebody. Why would you say a mean thing like that? You're an alcoholic." I said, "Why'd you say that?" He said, "Because if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and sounds like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a bloody duck. Just because he's been taking some shit and thinks he's an eagle, no, you're a duck. You're a duck, I'm a duck. Quack, quack." I went, "Holy shit, what is this? This is the bloody funny farm, man. Guys loving on you and shit and ducks and eagles and shit. What was all this about?" But I didn't know. I didn't know he was breaking through the big bad barrier of denial that I had up against the world and against everything. And I didn't know this was a disease of denial. I do today, of course. I wrote words for it. I wrote a word, denial, D-E-N-I-A-L. Don't even notice I am lying, you know. Or don't even notice it's a lie. I don't notice when I'm lying, and I don't notice when I'm being lied to, especially by a disease that tells me I ain't got it. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Who relates to the voices that talk to you? Who relates to the voices going off in your head all the time? You know the voices? The voices that just said, what voices? Them voices. You know the voices? Drive you crazy, the bloody voices. Talk, 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 talk. Don't admit you're an alcoholic. Tell him to piss off. You're not an alcoholic. You're crazy. You're nuts. He said, I'm alcoholic. You're not. Don't. Whatever you do, deny you're an alcoholic. Do not admit you're alcoholic. Whatever you do. Well, he said, I'm alcoholic. You're not alcoholic. You're crazy. You're nuts. Well, I don't want to be crazy. Don't say, keep locking me up for being crazy. I'd rather be alcoholic. Shh. Don't say that. Alcoholic. I thought, wait a minute. Alcoholic. Well, that's what's wrong with me, for Christ's sake. Nobody's telling me nothing about it. I'm alcoholic. I ain't nuts. I ain't crazy. I'm alcoholic. Far out. Far out. I'm alcoholic. Being alcoholic was like a step up for me. I went, oh shit. I'm alcoholic. I couldn't wait to run home and tell my best friend that morning told me to piss off. I went home, I said, hey, guess what? I'm alcoholic. I'm powerless over alcohol. My life's unmanageable. He said, no shit. I thought he was going to be surprised. Weren't no one surprised, only me. And I've been glad I've been alcoholic, and I've been glad I'm alcoholic ever since. And I've said wow ever since, nearly 37 years ago. And I didn't know, because I knew nothing when I got here. I didn't know that Duck and the Eagle story was breaking through that big bad barrier of denial that I had up against the world and against everything, you know. I didn't know that. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I was so sick. I was so sick that I didn't know I was sick. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to be so sick that you don't know you're sick? No? Am I the only one? I was so sick, and then even when I got here and I looked around the room, was in me, I look around the room and I think, well, I'm not as sick as him. Do you know how sick that is? You know how sick it is to be in a meeting like this thinking you ain't as sick as the next guy? That's really sick. So if you're in here today wondering whether you is or whether you isn't a real alcoholic or not, I want you to know that I can relate to being as sick as you don't think you are. Sick, and I never knew. I never knew. You guys knew. I do know today, of course. I wrote a word for that too. Sick, S-I-C-K, spiritually ill can kill. And there I was, dying of a disease that I didn't even know I had. Now, I'm not an idiot. Don't think that I'm an idiot. Don't mean to offend any idiots in the room. But, you know, I'm very smart. I'm not just good looking, I'm smart. I got creds, I got street creds, I got academics, I got a PhD, for Christ's sake. Pretty heavy drinker, you know. And yet here I was, dying of a disease I didn't even know I had. But you guys did. You guys did, and you guys taught me. And in that very first meeting, that Duck and the Eagle story opened the door. You know, because I found out in the beautiful book why I identify as a fully conceited alcoholic, because I couldn't say that when I got here. I didn't know. Fully concede to my innermost self as alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. It's the first step in recovery, but it's not the first of the 12 steps. That's a totally different step, though often confused. You know, page 30 says, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. I call it the step before the steps. The first of the 12 steps is where we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, our lives had become unmanageable. A totally different step, though often confused. You know, and I never knew. And I come here and you know, what it is about us that makes us alcoholic is the Duck and the Eagle story. See, everything we know about alcoholics and alcoholism, and everything the doctor says and the book says and all that kind of stuff, like once too many, 1,000 ain't enough, once I start I can't stop from starting, got a twofold disease, obsession of the mind, allergy of the body, etc., etc., etc. All that's true, but that's not the clincher. What the clincher is the duck and the eagle story. What it is about us that makes us alcoholics/addicts is that alcohol and drugs changes my perception of reality. It don't do that for the normal person. We think it does, but it don't. Alcohol and drugs changes my perception of reality. It changes me from a duck to an eagle. I go out drinking as a delicate little duck, I have a few stiff ones and turn into an eagle and go swooping around looking for prey. And that's not P-R-A-Y either. It changes my perception of reality. It don't change reality, it just changes my perception of reality. Alcohol and drugs changes my perception of reality. AA changes my perception to reality. See? It don't change the reality, you know. Anyway, I don't know nothing about nothing, and you know, Mary in my own group down there in Santa Monica puts it as well as I've ever heard anybody put it. Mary's this delicate little dudette. Bad-ass drunk is Mary. She says when she drinks, she feels wittier, prettier, and tittier. And I know exactly what she means. Alcohol change. She ain't no little wallflower when she's drinking. It's come and get some of this, big boy. Alcohol changes my perception of reality. That's why I got to fully concede to my innermost self that I'm alcoholic. And fully conceded is what the book says. And that's why, because fully conceded is what's necessary. A lot of people in recovery talk about admittance, acceptance and surrender. But that's not in the program, admittance, acceptance and surrender. In the first step, admitted, but admittance, acceptance and surrender ain't even in the program. But that's what a lot of people talk about, and that's not enough. That's why it doesn't work like fully conceding does. See, because I can accept something today and refute it tomorrow. I can believe, I can accept, I can admit something today and deny it tomorrow. I can surrender today, but give me an Uzi and a box of ammo and come and get some of this, big boy. Because admittance, acceptance and surrender, which ain't in the program, which people talk about, ain't enough. Fully concede to my innermost self. Now, I don't hear a lot of that. I don't hear a lot of people saying, will you help me, will you show me, will you teach me, and I'll do what you do so that I don't have to drink today. Because everybody seems to know everything. I've heard it here tonight. I've talked to people, they said, I know. Everybody knows everything. Usually followed by yeah, but. I know, yeah, but. I know, yeah, but. The mating call of arseholes. I know. It don't say I know, yeah, but. It says we learned. And I had to learn because I didn't know. I knew nothing about nothing. You guys did. I don't know what I do and why I do it. And I came in here and I've heard it here today. I've heard it here tonight. People talking about what it was that made them alcoholic addict. They couldn't stand the pain. They were covering up who they are. They had all these issues. Like, pass the tissues, I got issues. And I think, at what stage of the game do you discover that? I can't imagine that, me. I cannot imagine going in any pub I ever drank at and saying to the bartender, hit me with a triple shot of your best booze. Because I can't stand who I am and I want to cover up the pain tonight. It never happened. Oh, Mr. Dealer Man, give me an extra rock of crack cocaine, because I really feel inadequate. Never happened, never. I have no idea why I do what I do. I've just been doing it. I continue to do it. I got 3 sisters and a brother. Not alcoholic. I'm alcoholic. I is, they isn't. Same blood, same family, same environment, same everything. I'm alcoholic, they're not alcoholic. They don't know why I drink. I don't know why they don't. I ask them, why don't you drink? They say, I don't like it. I say, what? What don't you like about it? They say, well, if I have one too many, I feel sick. I say, sick? You got to drink past that. Who stops at sick? I puke, but I don't stop drinking. They don't laugh, they think I'm weird. Any other weirdos here tonight? Yeah, no shit. All my life. Anybody ever live with those words that I grew up living with? Anybody ever hear those words? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? For Christ's sake, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You're bloody weird, you are. What the hell's wrong with you? Anybody know what I'm talking about? And they would ask me what's wrong with me as if I knew. What is wrong with you? Oh, actually, I've got a twofold disease. It's an obsession of the mind, allergy of the body. I don't know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Why do you drink like you do? Why don't you drink like I do? Because I don't know, see, I have no idea. I don't know why I do what I do, I just do it, and I've always been doing it, and here I am, 40 years of age, broke, busted, disgusted, and not to be trusted, in Alcoholics Anonymous, not knowing nothing about nothing. But you guys did, and you guys taught me, and I never knew. On January the 15th, 1983, two things happened that I never knew was happening at the time. I've got to tell you, if you're new around here or returning, I've got to tell you, look, everything I know about myself and about alcohol and alcoholism is all in retrospect. I never knew none of this when I came here. I had no idea when I got here, nothing about nothing. So if I'm talking about stuff that you don't understand, or if you hear things around here that you just don't grasp, do what they told me to do, keep coming back. Because I did, I kept coming back, and today I do know, and I stuck around. So keep coming back if you're in, because everything I know is all in retrospect. I never knew nothing about nothing at the time. I can promise you that. I never knew what was happening to me on January the 15th, 1983. Two things happened to me. One was I hit bottom. The other was alcohol and drugs stopped working. I didn't know what that meant. I never had a clue. I looked in the book, wasn't mentioned. Alcohol and drugs, stopping working wasn't mentioned there, and hitting bottom wasn't mentioned there. I didn't know what it was. But guess what? I had the gift of desperation. G-O-D, God, gift of desperation. I didn't know what hitting bottom was. I went round asking, what does hitting bottom mean? Because I heard in the meeting people saying everybody's bottom's different. I thought, what the hell's that? Hitting bottom? Hit everybody different? What does that mean? So I went round asking, what does it mean, hitting bottom? What does hitting bottom mean? You'd be amazed at what I got told. Well, maybe not amazed, but, people said all kinds of weird shit. And although Bill never mentioned hitting bottom in the programme, in the 12 and 12, which he wrote 12 years later, in the very first step he said, why all this insistence that every alcoholic must hit bottom first? Well, that's some ballsy shit to say to a bunch of drunks, isn't it? People like us who don't like authoritative figures and don't like being told what to do. Yeah, we'll hit bottom on this, Father Mucker. But he insists that every alcoholic must hit bottom first, and I don't know what it is. And I went round asking. People told me all kinds of crap. But what I discovered was that hitting bottom was an inside job, not an outside circumstance. And everybody seemed to tell me about the outside circumstance. Maybe you think that's what's hitting bottom. But it's not. The outside circumstances may be different for everybody, but that's not what hitting bottom is. Hitting bottom's an inside job, not an outside circumstance. Those outside circumstances sometimes enable us to become capable of hitting bottom, but in and of themselves they're not the bottom. We think, believe and say they are, but they're not. And you'd be amazed at what people say. One particular little couple that I work with, I like this couple, quite fond of them, and they work hard at their sobriety and they love being clean and sober. I said to the little chickadee, I said to her, have you hit bottom? Bill says every alcoholic must hit bottom first. Have you hit bottom? She said, yes, Mick, I've hit bottom. I said, I'm curious, tell me about it. She said, it's easy, Mick. I was feet to the curb, hustling the Broadway, prostituting myself, trying to earn $1 so I could get loaded. I said, that wasn't your bottom. She said, well, I think it was. I said, I don't give a shit what you think. I said to her, dude, have you hit bottom, pal? He said, yes, Mick, I've hit bottom. I said, tell me about it. He said, it's easy, Mick. I was locked up in a penitentiary, married to Bubba. I said, that wasn't your bottom. He said, it felt like it was. Bad minds. They got bad minds. Hitting bottom's an inside job, not an outside circumstance. And alcohol and drugs had stopped working. It hadn't stopped getting me drunk, it hadn't stopped rotting my liver, it hadn't stopped getting me locked up and in trouble, but it stopped changing my perception of reality so that I could be here in this rotten world with you rotten people doing rotten shit that I can't stand. And I don't know what you brought to recovery, but what I brought was a lot of hurt and hate. Hurt and hate. That's what I brought here. Hurt and hate. I hurt and I hate everything. I hated women. I couldn't stand women. I hated homos and queers and anybody different. I hated black people, totally racist and prejudiced. I was from London, England, living in Los Angeles, and I hated foreigners. I couldn't stand me. I hated you, and get away from me, and don't come near me. And with all that torment and turmoil going on inside, I still had to try and present to you a picture of somebody you would like. Because when your higher power's what people think of you, if you don't like me, I'm screwed. Here I am. Alcohol had stopped making it all right. Alcohol had stopped making it all right. Alcohol had stopped changing my perception so that I could be here in this rotten world with you rotten people doing rotten shit. And I was screwed. And I hit bottom. I never knew it at the time. You know, I was in so much pain and I hurt and so desperate, without knowing what I was saying, without knowing who I was saying it to, and without knowing what the results of what I was saying was going to be. I can remember very clearly going, "Help me, please help me. What's wrong with me? What am I going to do? What is wrong with me?" And asked for help from outside of myself. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Ask, A-S-K, Ask Saving Kit. Help, H-E-L-P, His Ever-Loving Presence. And guess what? Although this disease had gotten me to abandon God, God hadn't abandoned me. And when I turned back to him and asked for help, he seemed to be looking over my shoulder and he seemed to say, "Mick, you silly bastard, I've been waiting for you to ask. Now get yourself over to that 12-step fellowship." Sent me to you. I asked for help and he sent me to you. Because here was the power he provided for an alcoholic of my kind, your kind, our kind, beautiful book says, to not have to drink today. Wow. What a gift. G-I-F-T, God is forever there, gift. When an alcoholic addict doesn't drink for one day, that's an event. And it's a pretty remarkable event. But we don't live our life by events, we live our life by a process, which is a series of events. So keep coming and stick around. Hit bottom, H-I-T-B-O-T-T-O-M. Hurting inside, totally burnt out, turn to our master. I didn't know this disease had gotten me to turn away from the master. But I learned. You know, in the beautiful book it said, remember we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling and powerful. Without help, it's too much for us. Cunning, baffling and powerful. But that kind of caused a consternation with me because it was a contradiction. See, it says, remember we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling and powerful. But then it went on to say, there's one who has all power, that one is God, may you find him now. Well, if I got to find him, it means I ain't got him. And if he's the source and he's the power over everything and I'm powerless over alcohol, it must mean where alcohol is concerned, I'm godless. That's all powerless over alcohol is. It means I'm godless. Godless over alcohol. Powerless over alcohol. I didn't know that. But where the contradiction came into it was cunning, baffling and powerful. Well, long before I got here, and I've got news for you, long before you got here, the disease was already working on us. The disease was already getting us to abandon God and spirituality, so that along the path of life, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, the disease becomes the power in my life, dictating and dominating everything I say, do, think and feel, and in and of myself I'm helpless, hopeless and powerless to resist its demands, and have to do what it wants me to do, which is drink. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah, no shit. And the disease had gotten me to abandon God and spirituality, and it was powerful, but the disease was the negative power. And the negative power had gotten me to abandon the positive power, God. And when I turned back to God, the positive power, and asked for help, He came back in my life and directed me to you. Here I was now, God was back in my life, He directed me to you. Here was a 12-step spiritual fellowship, a program you had, PROGRAM, people relying on God, relaying a message. Message, MESSAGE, me, steps, sponsoring God every day. You introduced me to a book, a beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Big book you called it, BIGBOOK. Believing in God beats our old knowledge. Holy shit. Well, how do I find out what's in the book? Well, what's in the book is the 12 steps. Steps? What do you mean steps? STEPS, solution to every problem sober. Holy shit. Well, how do I find out about that? Get a sponsor. What do you mean sponsor? SPONSOR. Sober person offering newcomers suggestions on recovery. Holy shit. What shall I ask him? What's in the book? Well, what's in the book? The steps. 12-step program. Have I got to do steps? Of course you've got to do steps. Why? Because if you want to stay sober and don't work the steps, you go crazy. You go nuts. Nuts? What do you mean nuts? NUTS, not using the steps. Well, why have I got to use the steps? Because if you don't use the steps to stay sober, what do you mean sober? SOBER, son of a bitch, everything's real. Holy shit. You think I knew this shit when I came here? I never had a clue. Never had a clue. Never knew nothing about nothing when I got here. But I do today, you know. I hadn't been around here very many minutes, and a rough, gruff old guy got hold of me and he said, come on, Mick, we'll go and wash the cups on the Tuesday night meeting. I said, I don't want to wash the cups on the Tuesday night meeting. He said, we'll go and get drunk. I said, I don't want to get drunk. He said, come and wash the cups. I went, shit, wash the cups. So I'm there, and they weren't nice, delicate cups like these, you know, they were chunky mugs, hairy-ass chunky mugs they was, big-ass heavy things they was, and they had butts and ash in them, they smoked in meetings then, you know, and there I am, an hour after everybody's gone home, the meeting's ended, I'm up to my elbows in water, washing bloody mugs, 200 hairy-ass mugs, felt like a right dick, you know. Following day, the guy said, you did a good job last night, Mick. If they let us, we'll come back and wash the cups next week. I said, I don't wash my own cups. I don't want to wash cups. He said, go and get drunk. I said, I don't want to get drunk. He said, come and wash the cups. I went, shit. Wash the cups. There I am again, washing the bloody cups. Up to my elbows in water, washing bloody cups. 200 rotten ass mugs. This went on for 4 months. 4 months. Tuesday, I'm pissing and moaning, washing bloody hairy ass cups. One night, I'm washing cups, pissing and moaning. Guys come and stood at the end of the sink. I said, what do you want? He said, sponsor said I've got to wash the cups. I said, what cups? He said, I guess them cups. I said, piss off and get your own cups. You're not having my cups. These are my cups. You ain't having my cups. See, I didn't know that old boy was teaching me how to change. He was teaching me how to become a giver and a contributor instead of being a leech, sucking and leeching and taking. I was now an active member, a contributing member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I stayed sober. Stayed sober. Holy shit. I've got to tell you a story about that as well. One of the reasons I mention drugs so much is because I got a hearing problem. I don't hear shit right. Now, it never happened just because I got here. I mean, long before I got here, I never heard shit right. I mean, I just don't collate things the same as every normal person. People, even when I was a little kid, when I was just a little kid, And if you've got kids, remember, they survive. They've got survival techniques. And when I was a little kid, people would say shit to me. It was so dysfunctional and painful where I come from. People would say shit to me and I wouldn't like it, couldn't stand it. So I would mentally change it to something I did like and then blame you for telling me. And they'd get weird and they'd say, what's wrong with this kid? There's something wrong with this kid. He'd get you in trouble. This kid, lock him up, put him away somewhere. And they kept locking me up, putting me away shit. I don't know, I'm a little kid. What I was actually doing was changing my perception of reality. Later on, when alcohol and drugs came along, that done for me what I'd been doing as a little kid. And I never heard when I got here that it had to include all mind, mood altering substances that affect you from the neck out. You may have said it, but I never heard it. Because I don't hear shit right. I never have. I mean, it used to drive my mum nuts. I would come home drunk, stumbling and bumming. And alcoholics have this insane belief that they know how to be quiet. And you come home, you're all shit-faced and bumping and staggering. Mum would be in her bed, good woman that she was, and she'd hear everything. And she'd yell out down the stairs, "Drunk again, son!" And I'd go, "So am I, Mum." She said, "I'm not bloody drunk. I've been in bed since 8 o'clock. The hell's wrong with you?" And I wouldn't get it. I think, well, why did she say she was drunk then? Because I don't hear shit right. When I got one of them sponsors, he told me get a job. I said, what? He said, get a job. I said, what do you mean? He said, go to work. I don't know how I'd get there. Get a bus. What? Get a bus. I don't do buses. I've never done a bus. I thought, I've got to be able to get... I felt all silly. Got to be able to get a bus. I went down to Sunset Boulevard and stood at a bus stop. Buses going up and down, full up with people. I thought, I've got to be able to get a bus, for Christ's sake. Bus came along. I got on the bus. Guy said, put some money in the trap. I said, yeah, all right, put some money in the trap. And stood there, waited for something to happen. And the bus pulled away. I went flying down the bus. I fell up against this chick with these big ones. She said, move your hands. I said, okay, sure. Because I don't hear shit right. It's not my fault. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I never heard that it had to include all my mood-altering substances that affect you from the neck up. And when Johnny, my good friend, started Cocaine Anonymous, when I was around, he invited me to the first ever meeting of Cocaine Anonymous. I said, I don't want to go to no bloody meetings, because he invited me to a meeting. He didn't just lead me astray and tell me I was just being a friend. And of course, I didn't want to go to no meeting. I regret it now that I never went, but I was around at the beginning. And I was with Johnny one day, and he wrote out the first step. We admitted we were powerless over cocaine and all other mind-altering substances. I said, Johnny, you can't write that. You've changed it. Because it originally said, we admitted we were powerless over cocaine and all other mind-altering chemicals. And I said, look, you've changed it. He said, yeah, and I'm leaving it like that. I said, no, we can't do that. We've took a group conscience, a worldwide group conscience. We're going to take the program out of the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, because it already proves to work. Now, Cocaine Anonymous was only in Hollywood, but it was a worldwide group conscience, you know. He said, no, I'm leaving. I said, no, that ain't right. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous and I don't drink, but I still do the other shit because I never, you know. He said, yeah, that's why you're fucking insane, he said. I said, what do you mean? He said, you're mental, you are, you're crazy, everybody knows it, you ain't fooling anybody. I said, what, you got to quit everything? Yes, he said, everything. I said, motherfucker. So my clean and sober date is May 8th. The day after May 7th, which was the last mind mood altering substances that I did, cocaine, you know. And I wasn't doing all the devastating work that I used to, because I was going to meetings and kind of touching, but I wasn't drinking and I was still dabbling, you know, and what have you. But I've been clean and sober now from May 8th, 1983. And for that I'm ever grateful, believe me. But I never heard it initially. I never heard it the first time round. You know, so if you're here and you're dabbling in something else, be aware. Yes, we're talking about alcohol and alcoholism, But it has to include all mind, mood altering substances that affect you from the neck up. You know, and that's the sufficient substitute that we need, the program. I just checked this watch and it says 8 o'clock, and they told me that I should speak for an hour or so, and if your bladder's pressuring you, you can get up and walk out. I won't say nothing bad about you. You know, you ask anybody who's been sober a long time, being sober don't eliminate life on life's terms. Life on life's terms still going to kick you in the arse, believe me. But what we got here is a way of living so that whatever happens, we don't have to end up in detox over it. We don't have to end up, drinking and drugging over it. Life on life's terms kicks you in the arse. But we don't have to use over it. And we can apply these principles to all our affairs, especially our personal relationships. I don't know how you are here in Salt Lake City with relationships. You know, us down there in Santa Monica, we're no good at it. We don't give it up, but we're no good at it. Relationships. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I wrote a word for relationships. RELATIONSHIP. Really exciting love affair turns into outrageous nightmare. Sobriety hangs in peril. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, huh? Well, at 10 years sober, I was in the fetal position in the floor, eating the carpet in so much pain I couldn't stand it. But I didn't have to go through that alone, and I didn't have to end up in detox over it. Johnny, apart from anything else, walked me through that. I stayed clean and sober. But, I've never been so convinced as I am today, and I'll bring you up to date, because I deliberately stayed sort of newish, if you like. There's a lot of treatment centre people here and newly sober people, so I want to keep it sort of even in the middle. But I want to bring you up to date. I've never been so convinced as I am today that God doesn't protect us from the storm, He protects us in the storm. We're protected in the storm, not from the storm. Life is going to kick you in the butt and you're going to have some storms to get through. But we don't have to end up in detox over it. This year I've had a lot of storms. A lot of storms. I'll tell you about some. Just over a year ago, my manager of 24 years had a heart attack in Vegas and died. I'd been telling him for 10 years he was going to die. Wouldn't take any notice. Now, he took care of 95% of life on life's terms problems for me. I lost him. It hurt. Dead. Shortly after he'd gone, $60,000 of my money had been misappropriated. So I not only lost my manager, I lost 60 grand as well. Right after that, my teeth broke. I busted the bridge in my mouth and had no teeth. I had 2 teeth on this side here. Right after that, on a Sunday, my youngest and favourite sister died. The one that was born on my belly button birthday. My youngest and I've got 3 sisters and a brother. My youngest sister died. Kicked my ass. So that was Sunday. On the Monday, my 36-year-old son died. Kicked my ass. On the Tuesday, my best and closest friend from the UK died. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 major deaths. On the Sunday, I was at my East Bay meeting, my regular Sunday night meeting. On the Monday, I was in my home group meeting, Seal Beach Speakers meeting. On the Tuesday, I was in my men's stag step study meeting, the Nomads meeting. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 different days, 3 different deaths. But you guys had taught me and taught me well. RIP, rest in peace, became recovery is priority. My recovery is my priority in life. I hope it is for you too. Right after that, I nearly died. I didn't know it, and there's a whole story attached to it, but I was suddenly taken, my heart nearly gave out. I had 2 bad valves bypassed, and I had an appendix on my heart which shouldn't have even been there. And I haven't smoked cigarettes for 36 years, but when I did smoke them prior to coming here, I'd done a lot of damage smoking, and the surgeon said to me my heart condition was very bad, the 2 valves and the bypass and the appendix, but a major factor was the damage I'd done from smoking cigarettes. If you're a smoker or a vapor, I'm just dropping a little hint to you, because it doesn't go away if you're doing damage. And I said to him, I haven't smoked cigarettes for 36 years, for Christ's sake. He said, yes, but if you hadn't quit, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I got through that surgery. It was all right in the beginning, but it wasn't totally all right. My heart kept stopping. Had to go to ICU a couple of times. One time I went to ICU and they hooked me up and all that, and they come storming in the middle of the night. My heart stopped for 13 seconds. Another time it stopped for 8 seconds, and it kept stopping for 3 or 4 seconds. They put a pacemaker in. I got a pacemaker right here. They put a pacemaker in. I'm battery operated. Battery operated Bush. I'm bionic. It's not all bad, because I've heard you ladies prefer it battery operated. You're very naughty. You're very naughty, I'm telling you. But I got over that, and I got through that. You know, when my son died, his daughter, my granddaughter, she lives in Virginia. She's 13 next week. When she died, she'd never ever seen her dad, because my son was doing a 12-year prison sentence. He'd got involved in a gang thing, ended up on a death charge, and he was away the whole of her life. She was 12 years old, she'd never been. But he used to call her and write to her and do drawings for her, and she knew who he was and everything else. Well, when he died, her mum didn't know how to tell her, of course. And they told me they're going to tell her this weekend about Shane dying. We were all very nervous. She called me back that day. She said, we told her. I said, how did she take it? She said the first words out of her mouth was, will Grandpa Mickey still be our grandpa? Doesn't that just melt you? You may ask, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Or is it all worth it? I'll tell you another little story. Me and my mum, terrible. When I was a little kid, she used to bash me. And when I grew up, I bashed her. It was a nightmare. It was horrendous. Violent. I came and joined you. You said keep coming back. I kept coming back. My mum, she never went to a 12-step program her entire life. She passed a little while ago. She never went to a meeting her entire life. I went every day. I came and joined you and came every day. Even today, 37 years later, if you were to say as $1,000, Mick, tell me the last 2 days in a row that you didn't go to a meeting, I wouldn't be able to take your money. I have a vague recollection of an odd day here and there where I didn't go to a meeting. I go to meetings, lots and lots of meetings. I'm a meetings man. I go to meetings. I go every day. I came and joined you, came every day. My mum never came to a single meeting. But that relationship turned. That relationship turned. And it turned to such a degree that when my mum passed, my 3 sisters and brother were sitting round the bed. I was here in America. That horrendous nightmare of a violent mother and son relationship had turned to such a degree that Mum was going in and out of comas. They didn't know when the time was going to come. And they told me that at one stage she came up on her elbows in bed and she had this big broad grin on her face. And they said, Mum, what's up? She said, Mickey's doing good in Alcoholics Anonymous in America. And she laid back and passed. Is it worth it? How does a guy like me come out of nut wards for the criminally insane, put a smile on an old lady's face as she goes to meet her maker? How does that happen, folks? It happens right here is how it happens. Right here in recovery. Is it worth it? You better believe it's worth it. It gives me a big fat feeling. I won't keep you very many minutes longer, but I do want to just end up with a little story. After that first meeting that I went to, January the 15th, 1983, I got home not knowing nothing about nothing. I had 2 telephone numbers in my hand. Somebody gave me 2 telephone numbers. Now, I know you don't, but I did call one of the numbers. And a guy answered the phone. I said, I don't know who you are, pal. I said, but I got your number in my hand. Oh, he said, I recognise your accent from the meeting at lunchtime. Oh, I said, was you at the meeting? He said, yeah, I gave you the number. I went, oh, shit. I said, what about them meetings? He said, what about them? I said, you go to them meetings? Yes, he said, I go to them meetings. I said, how long have you going to them meetings? He said, 4 months. I've been going 4 months to them meetings. I said, what does that mean? He said, it means I'm sober, 4 months, sober. I went, really? Yes, he said, really? I said, you go to them meetings at night? He said, yes, I go to them meetings at night. I said, can I come to one of them meetings with you tonight? He said, well, normally I would say yes, he said, but I've made arrangements to go to a movie with some friends tonight. I said, all right, don't matter. When all little inside felt rejected, you know. He picked up on it like we do. He went, holy shit, he said, what is wrong with me? I said, what? What's wrong with you? He said, you may have just saved my life. I said, no, I never done nothing. He said, 4 months sober and a newcomer wants to go to me and I tell him, no, I'm going to a movie. Holy shit, where do you live? I'm coming round to pick you up. I said, what about your friends and your movie? He said, you're much more important than a movie. I said, I am. Went all special again, didn't I? He came round and picked me up, didn't he? He came round and picked me up. Took me to a meeting. Got me a beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, 3rd edition, just like this. I still got it. Got lots of miles on it too. First day. Fast forward 25 years. Fast forward for 25 years. We're in San Fernando Valley having a picnic because we have social events like this, you know, where we all have a good time and we do social events. I got all my troops with me and they ain't got no money, but I teach them what you guys taught me, how to be of service and how to do security and how to do clean-up and how to do commitments. We're having a good time. And I bumped into old Zachary that all those years ago had taken me to that meeting with 4 months sobriety. I said, hi Zach, how you doing, brother? Because he lives in Beverly Hills. And I said, what are you doing on this side of the hill? In the valley. He said, I'm speaking at the meeting. He said, I'm speaking at the meeting. He said, I know you're doing good, Mick. I hear good things about you all the time. I said, how are you doing, mate? He said, I'm doing great. He said, I'm speaking at the meeting. And it took me just half a second for the penny to drop. 25 years later, being of service, he's still 4 months ahead of me. Does that pass on a message? You know, my telephone number is 310-617-7878. 310-617-7878. And I give you that number because that's what you guys mean. You gave me that number. And I called it. I hope you call me. I love being an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And we come here together, don't we, to stay together, to do together what we couldn't do alone. I couldn't stay sober, you couldn't stay sober, but together we can stay sober. We can do what I couldn't do. You know, and this disease makes us do what we already don't want to do, and I can't not do it just because I don't want to do it. I've got to not want to do it, then do these steps and this work so that I don't do what I already don't want to do. And if I ain't doing these steps in this work or ain't done these steps in this work, I will do what I don't want to do, because the disease I got that I'm powerless over will make me do what I don't want to do. You think I knew that shit when I got here? And we laugh, you see. My mum don't laugh. My mum don't laugh at my shit. You know, every year I used to go home to see my mum. First thing I do, I go round her house and I knock her up. I tell her, Mum, I'm 36 years sober. She says, so is the cat. She don't give me a pat on the back for not doing something I shouldn't have done in the first place. But we do, don't we? And that laughter, that language of the heart, H-E-A-R-T, healing, enjoying and recovering together. The language of the heart, the laughter that we share. You know, when we carry the message into one alcoholic to another alcoholic addict. You know. But I've got news for you. I've heard some laughter here tonight. If you're laughing, you're relating. And if you're relating to a sick bastard like me, there ain't no doubt about you, pal, I'll tell you that. I don't get through to no well people. Well people don't laugh at my shit. You know, I'm extremely glad to be here. Thank you so much for asking me to come. I'm really glad to be here. And I'm very grateful for you. And I look forward to speaking to you. Namaste.
One more time for Mickey. We love you, Mick. All right, thank you everybody for coming. Get home safe tonight. Let's circle up and do the Serenity Prayer.